Mhm.
Hi there, I am Clara Bellino, and today I have the great pleasure of interviewing a dear friend of mine, very talented dear friend of mine. First of all, I want to say we are broadcasting from Eclectic Gallery on Piedmont Avenue in Oakland, 4125 Piedmont. And this special guest has asked if, I always ask this of my guests, if there's some particular artist that they would like to have featured in the interview, and he mentioned Santana. And so to this side of my head, you can see the Santana, the famous Santana Lion by Lee Conklin. It's a Bill Graham number 134. Anyway, it's thanks to my husband that we get to broadcast from here. He's an expert in 60s and 70s rock posters. So enough about that, but this is what's bringing us, some of what's bringing us good juju on this interview. And Lincoln Adler is, we've been friends now, I think since 2011, maybe? I'm not, who cares? We met when I was looking for a producer or producers to help me with my third album, and our dear common friend at Fantasy Studios, Jeffrey Wood, suggested Lincoln and his producing partner, Greg Sankovich. And they showed up at my house, and I loved the sounds that they played me. They were right on par with what I had in my ears, and also based on just how it felt to be with them. I said yes, on a gut instinct. And since then, we worked, they helped me produce my third album and my fourth album. But without further ado, I want to introduce you to Lincoln, because today what I do with this series is called Time to Turn the Tables. And it's my way of not only saying thanks to the people I've worked with, but just to turn the tables, to introduce you to people who, yes, Lincoln is a producer, he's a musician, he's also a multifaceted human, and that's who I want to introduce you to today. So Lincoln, without further ado, how are you today?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks for having me on your
Oh,
podcast, your show. It's fun.
my pleasure, my pleasure. I just, this thing of Time to Turn the Tables has been lovely, because it gives me a chance to, expose people who I've had the joy and privilege to work with, and also let people know how multifaceted you, in this instance, are. So, Lincoln, you are a musician. You are an amazingly talented sax player. You're a producer. You do many other things. We're going to find this out during the interview. But my first question to you is, do you remember when you decided that music had to be in your life? And did someone in particular support you or inspire you to pursue being an artist, and a musical one?
Um, I think my parents were the first influence. Probably, at 3 years old, my dad gave me this little guitar about this big, and I'd be playing along with him. He was a folk singer, and he taught me all a few chords. And so there's pictures of me with my feet, just not even off the edge of the couch, sitting next to him playing the guitar with him. And I think that's where it all started. And then I did what kids do. I picked, an instrument in fourth grade. I picked clarinet, I think it was. Yeah. And I took clarinet lessons for a while. And then in high school, my teacher said, if you want to be in the jazz band. And I was like, oh my God, get to be in the jazz band. And that was probably the point where I really started to like music, because I was playing jazz. It wasn't just, the classical music that I grew up with. It was something really new that I didn't really get to hear around my house very much. And my teacher was very inspiring. He gave me, Sonny Rollins and all these really cool people to listen to. And then, I got a tenor sax, and kind of the rest is just a snowball effect. I just went crazy. Yeah.
The rest is a bunch of history. That's great. Thumbs up to inspiring teachers. And I would love to see that picture with you with your little guitar.
I'll send it to you. It's very
Thank you. We will add it to promoting this interview. That's awesome. Really, really lovely to hear. I never really heard this part of your story, even though we've worked together quite a bit. And I guess this leads to our second question, because you and I have discussed, it's important to me when I interview people to find out what it is they want to share, because we want to make this a win-win time when we actually expose what's important to you. And so creativity is a huge thing in your life. And what does it mean to you? I'm going to let you fill in the blanks, and why is it important to you?
I think I was like, you know, when kids are really little and they can't like draw inside the lines, like if you give a kid a picture with a, you know, an outline, they just draw all over it. That's
Yeah.
kind of how I always was with music. I never liked playing exactly the notes, and I'd always embellish the classical notes. The teacher's like, no, that's not how they would have played it, you know. I'm like, but that's how I want to play it. So that's kind of what pushed me into playing along with the radio a lot and stuff when I was a little kid. And so my ear got really, really good from doing that. And then ever since then, I've always wanted to create my own music, to play, at least interpret the songs that I had in my own way, you know. So even if I was playing a classical piece of music, I'd put extra notes in it, or less notes, or just kind of change it to the way I liked it. And I think that's just an expression of your heart, or, you know, your soul, when you're just changing something to how you would want to do it. You know, it's like reinterpreting a book or something and telling people the story in your own way. So
Yeah.
well, that's kind of how I feel about music. I just feel like it's always, and everything in life, you know, I make websites, and I do lots of other things, but it's always about trying to put as much of myself into it as I can.
You have such an impact, because I know, I mean, from working with you, I've said this at top, you're a really talented sax player. And yes, what you just described is so true. Like when you play, you really put your heart into it. And I know you do that for websites too, as you just mentioned, because you actually helped me with my website and with Eclat Clique's website. My husband had this vision of what he wanted, and I kept saying, talk to Lincoln. Lincoln's amazing. No, because you're really, I mean, you do. It's you're creative and efficient at what you do, and it's lovely to be able to be partnered with you at any time. So I wanted to ask you next, like, you've released, and we'll get to that a little bit later, you've released quite a few albums of your own music, but how do you choose who you play music with, or what are the elements that make a musical experience enjoyable to you and satisfying? What's your best scenario when it comes to either playing music with people or producing somebody's music? What do you like to have there?
I love making music with people who I would consider my friends, or who could be easily become my friends.
Yeah.
And so the band I've had, Times Four, we've had this band since 2001 or 2002. Those guys, I met them all at the beginning, and I just thought I just had a really nice vibe with them. And so we've been together all this time. We've done 3 albums. We're working on a 4th right now. And even with working with you, I just you have such a nice vibe. I instantly just felt like this is someone I would love to work with. And there's just, you know, you get a feeling from people, right?
Yeah.
There's some people who sometimes they say, oh, bands are so hard to keep together and they break up. But I haven't had that situation with my bands, because I just initially look for people that I would like to spend a lot of time with. It's kind of like a marriage in a way, right?
Yeah.
When you're in a band with people for so many years, you really get to know them, and hopefully you like them too, you know.
Yeah. Oh God, that is so, I know that is exactly how I felt when I met you and Greg Sankovich, who is part of this lovely band that you just talked about, Times Four. It was like, that is my top criteria, is obviously that people be talented and good what they do, but that it's such privileged time for me when we get in the studio, that I only want to spend it with people that I would love to spend time with. And so, I hear you when you talk about that being a criteria, as like, you know, people you enjoy spending time with. Time is precious. And so I want to say again, yes, Times Four. Times Four is Greg Sankovich, who I met at the same time I met you, when we first met to work on my album 2 albums ago. What another talented musician, and sweet human, just amazing human.
Yeah.
Greg is like in another life, I hope to play piano and keyboard. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. I'm like, I played classical piano for 10 years, but I look at Greg and I go, it's like in another life for me, maybe, hopefully. Yeah. And a wonderful human as well, like you said. And so now we're leading up to, how many albums of your own music have you recorded, and how do you communicate the music when, do you bring other people in on your albums, and then how do you communicate your music with them? Do you write charts, or do you adapt it to whatever their method of communication is? Or
Yeah, yeah, it works. It works all different ways. Two of the guys in Times 4 don't read music at all, so there's charts don't help.
yeah,
So then it's about saying, here's how my idea of how it should go, and then why don't you just come up with your own idea? So there's a lot of creativity
yeah,
room for that in that band. So we'll start with we call it a seedling or something, and then it just sprouts and grows, and sometimes it ends up being totally different than we had imagined it at first. But
yeah.
everybody put in their 2 or 3 cents with the inflation. I don't know how much that's 5 cents now. and then but I have done, like, let's see, I'm counting here. I have 6 albums of my own under my name, and then Times 4 has done 3, and we're working on the 4th one. So that's a lot of output, and it's always different. My albums, usually I end up playing a lot of the instruments myself, just because it's easier and I can play what I hear usually.
Yeah.
But sometimes I have outside musicians come in and play things, guitars and drums, and it just kind of depends where I want the music to go and what I want we need contributed at the time.
That's awesome, and I love that idea too. Is that as creators, hopefully we evolve, right? And so
Yeah.
you move forward, and you're like, okay, I've learned this, and now and you never quite know actually what's going to come out. And but once again, when it sounds, creativity being a big subject in your life, you're inviting people to be creative when you do creative things, and that's so awesome, because I know they enjoy doing participating in
Yeah,
whatever.
and actually, you mentioned who I like to work with, and I always think it's fun. It's one of the most fun thing is to find somebody who's playing you really like and whose style you like, and then invite them to play on your project and just let them do their thing, because it's going to be amazing whatever happens, right? It's going to be their own input and stuff, rather than saying, oh, I want you to play this exactly the way I want. I mean, there's places you want that too, right? But on a more creative, open thing, it's kind of fun just to let people have their space and their way with it. So.
Oh, absolutely, and I think we've experienced that together in the projects we worked on together. It's like you said, occasionally somebody, it's like you have to play this line because it makes the song, or it's the riff, or it's the thing. But obviously, you also choose people whose creativity you trust and admire. And you say, come in here. I know that with the tools I give you, you're going to do something that's going to blow me away, right? And
right.
so, it's fun to make a mixture of that. And so, this is what I love about this series, the Time to Turn the Tables, is that one of the things I love, as I've gotten, more mature, I'm like, I used to think of, oh, I know this person as a reviewer. He's a reviewer. But then I got to get a little more informed and find out that, that reviewer is also a musician, a songwriter, a father, a teacher, whatever, and so this is my time to introduce that there's so many other things you do, which is you're creative, you live your life creatively. And so please share with us, the other ways or areas of your life in which you express creativity. And I know that I'm just going to kind of give you a lead here, not that you need it, but I know we've mentioned you teach yoga now, you do websites, you talked about being creative in relationships, and whatever you want to say about that would be lovely.
Yeah. Well, I kind of like that Renaissance person model, where you just don't focus on one thing and spend your whole life just doing one thing forever. I like trying different stuff, and when you try those different things, those inform other parts of your creativity, right? So I think, like, for many years when I lived in Los Angeles, I was a technical writer, which you wouldn't think would be the most creative thing, but actually it really teaches you to be sparse with your language. And so I'm not a person who writes really long sentences, and so that kind of helped me with my writing a lot, and be really precise with music too, concisely making phrases that are concise and just put as much meaning into each note as I could. Yeah. And then I became a certified yoga instructor recently, and I find that, if I talk too much in class, it's too much. It's like, it's better to try to be sparse with your language and really connect with people on a direct level, and just give them enough words to get them going and keep them happy in their yoga, but not too much so they're overloaded with stuff they don't need to hear at the time. So I think, yoga, music, websites, writing computer manuals. You know, it's like I just keep trying different things. I can't help it.
Well, we appreciate you for all you do. We really do. Anybody who knows you is grateful to know you and lucky to know you. And that thing about, you know, getting more precise and short with your language is something I constantly work on. I did an interview last night and I was like, I could have said the same thing in half the time. But anyway, working on it, working on it. It's good to always, you know, keep growing. So I guess my last question to you for now is what would you like people to do who are listening to this interview? Where can they find you? You know, site, email, and these are things that you can communicate to me and that we will post under the interview wherever we post it, whether it's site, email, Facebook, whichever. Do you want people to reach out to you? Are you looking for people to collab? I know this is a long question. Are you looking for people to collaborate with you on projects? Artists to produce, creative folks who want websites?
Sure, any of that's fine. I mean, I'm just happy to
good.
hear from people. People want to talk with me. I'd love to hear from them.
Okay.
And I'm always interested in new projects and working with people on stuff. My personal website, which is lincolnadler.com, is down right now because I'm working on it. so it'll be up. It'll be up in a few days, maybe I don't know when this goes public, but hopefully soon it'll be up. Yeah. And then let's see, times4 is times4music.com. That's my band's website, and that's up and running.
And so to be clear, times4 is spelled out how?
It's TIMES numeral 4 and then music.
Times4music.com. Okay, we're gonna put tags and links to everything that connects to you. But basically, your message is that you're open for people reaching out to you if they want to talk with you about any of the things we've talked about.
Sure.
Right?
I love hearing from people and seeing where they're at. It's fun.
Okay, awesome. Well, it's really a pleasure to, you know, I hope this leads to wonderful connections for you and friendships, and really a pleasure to be able to bounce the ball back to you. It's not over. My husband and I, Chris, love having you and Julie in our lives and the creativity that you know, all of us participate in. And I wanted to say again, thank you for suggesting that we have the Santana as one of our good juju influences during this interview. And thank you to Chris Mickelson of Eclectic Gallery for finding this in time for our interview, this Lee Conklin BG 134. So we're broadcasting from Eclectic Gallery on Piedmont Avenue in Oakland. In the background, you see a show of Rick Griffin collection, which is moving to the Rock Poster Society poster show at the Hall of Flowers in San Francisco on October 19th. Obviously, once this interview keeps showing, that'll be outdated, but I just wanted to let you know that for those of you who are watching the interview prior to Saturday, October 19th. Give a plug to Chris Mickelson, Eclectic, and his amazing poster collection. Thank you to you, Lincoln, for being here today. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to stop this and we can say goodbye privately. Awesome interview. Really great to hear from you. Love your work and just keeping on being creative because the world.
Thank you, Clara. It's so nice to talk to you too. And I appreciate every time I get to see you whether it's on the monitor or in real life. It's very nice.
Thank you. And you know, keep on doing what you do because the world needs creative people like you. So thanks for giving it your best.
Thank you.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.